Hi guys, I'm back with another phonics lesson, and I want to talk about spelling tricky words. The easiest way to learn a word, to learn how to spell a word, is to figure out why the word is spelled like it is. When I grew up, I was taught that you had to memorize how to spell all the words that were tricky. I wasn't taught little mnemonic devices like we talked about. There's a say in said, like say starts with S-A and so does said, even though the A in said sounds like an E. I wasn't taught little mnemonic devices like I'm teaching you. So, but you don't have to memorize how to spell all of these tricky words, because lots of the spellings do make sense. Lots of the snap word spellings do make sense. And the spellings that don't make sense, usually it's just a little part of the word that is tricky. Like if you look over here at the word from, the fr part and the part, those are not tricky. Those letters sound like they're spelled. The only tricky part is the O part, because it almost sounds like a U sound instead of an O sound. So that's the only tricky part in the word. Look at the word wait. That word is really not tricky because we learned that the vowel teams, the first vowel does the talking. When two vowels go walking, the first one does the talking. Woo, ate, wait. But then if you look at this word, very is tricky because the V is not tricky, but the ER usually says but here it says air, and the Y sounds like an E. So very is a tricky word, but it's just that little part in the middle. We did learn that Y makes E. It's really the ER. So if I was looking at the tricky part of these words, in from, I would circle the O part. That's the tricky part. In very, I would circle the ER part. That's the tricky part in the word. Okay? Now, that's what you're going to do today. I'm going to give you some words, and you are going to figure out the parts, the ones that are tricky and the ones that are spelled like they sound. So you have a chart here, and one side says spelled like it sounds, and the other side is called tricky. So you're going to sort the words. Now you can either sort these words by cutting them out and gluing them in the spot on the chart, or you can just write them in the chart. And you're going to sort which ones are tricky and which ones are spelled like they sound. If the word is tricky, I want you to circle the part of the word that is tricky, just like I did up here for from and very. Circle the part of the word that is tricky. And then think of a way that you could remember that word, how to spell that word. Think of a way that you could learn how to spell that word. And then for the tricky words, I want you to write each tricky word 3 times and see if your little trick to remember it, to remember how to spell it, helped you spell it 3 times. So there should be 5 tricky words. And see if you can write each tricky word 3 times. Okay? And I will see you next time.